So today we are back with day 2 of my Book of Psalms Bible study, and today we are on Psalms 2. Psalms 2, it says, "Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains," they cry, "and free ourselves from slavery to God." But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Then in anger he rebukes them, terrifying them with his fierce fury. For the Lord declares, "I have placed my chosen king on the throne in Jerusalem, on my holy mountain." The king proclaims the Lord's decree. "The Lord said to me, 'You are my son. Today I have become your father. Only ask, and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession. You will break them with an iron rod and smash them like clay pots. Now then, you kings, act wisely. Be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with reverent fear and rejoice with trembling. Submit to God's royal Son, or he will become angry. You will be destroyed in the midst of all your activities, for his anger flares up in an instant. But what joy for all who take refuge in him." So today, what really stood out to me in this verse is verse 3 to 5. It says, "Let us break their chains," they cry, "and free ourselves from slavery to God." It gives me a picture of how we always want to break free from God. We just want to depend on ourselves. We want to earn enough money. We want to have fame. We want to have status so that we can have influence over people. We can have control over our lives, over our situation. And in this verse, it feels like that's what I've been going through in the past as well, trying to be self-sufficient, trying to be independent so that I can have control over my life. Then the next verse, it says, "But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them." When I think of God laughing, it's not like a very evil laugh, but it's more of like how God actually created us to depend on him. He has all the good things for us, but it's just that we didn't know yet. It's just like a parent who have a child and the child is too young to know anything, understand the extent of what the parent is doing for him or her. The kid is just trying so hard to rebel, trying so hard to throw tantrum, to prove that they are worthy of having control at that age. But the parent, out of love, is just like, they can't help but to laugh at the situation. But behind that laugh, there's also a grief of, can't you just trust me? Why can't you just listen to me? And the next verse, it says, "Then in anger he rebukes them, terrifying them with his fierce fury." And in this line, when it says that God rebukes them, terrifying them, it's not because he is ego bruised, not because he's very upset that he's losing control, but it's more of disciplining out of love. And like in Hebrews verse 12, that 6 to 7, it says that it also talks about how a father who loves his children will discipline his children. And when God doesn't discipline us, that is actually not helping us, because when God disciplines us, it is not to crush us, it is not to break us, but God disciplines us so that he can interrupt our self-destruction. When I think back about my own journey the last few years, I was on that path of self-destruction. I was on that path of trying to gain independence, gain control, without knowing that actually God created us to depend on him. God created us to be protected, to be loved, to be cared for. But that's something that I didn't understand back then. And now, on hindsight, as I deepen my relationship with him, I start to understand that actually we are created to depend on him. There is so much more joy when we surrender to him, and there's so much more joy when we seek refuge in him. So in this last verse, it ends with, "What joy for all who take refuge in him." So in today's sharing, I just hope that it encourages any one of you who might be able to relate to what I just shared to really turn back, seek God again. And his heart is always calling his children back. His heart is always restoring relationship. His heart is always redeeming our sonship back to him. And that's all I have for Psalms 2 today. And share your thoughts with me, and let's do this Bible study together.